Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, so today's topic is going to be the Garden of Eden. A lot of people had a lot of questions about it, a lot of theories, a lot of layers to this story because I've been pulling off layer by layer, and each time I get to that layer, it's the complete truth. Like whether it's going through the Bible with spirituality and like the Bible or spiritual. I'm just gonna jump into this. So first, we're gonna start with the chromosomes. As you know, the female chromosome is XX, male chromosome is XY. What do those two have in common? It's the X, right? So the female has two X's because the female is the source. And I'm going to further explain why the female is the source of all things in a moment. So remember in a previous video, I explained like how the brain broke down to three parts: the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem, as well as with our third eye. We had one vision at first, and then that third eye got broke down into two eyes, and now we have three. So always one breaks down to three all through the body. I'm gonna work through that as well too. So anyway, so if you look at the letter Y, it just looks like an X with a broken leg off of it, right? And then let's see. And then as I explained too, the brainstem broke off from the cerebellum. The leg broke off at Y because it was an X, right? Boom. So then back to the Garden of Eden. What is a garden? A garden can be anything. A garden can be a flower. A garden can be a grocery store. A garden can be a bank. A garden is just a variety of different things. So it's just a variety. So when you look at the male chromosome, it's a variety because it's X and Y, more than one of a different thing, if that makes sense, right? Okay, so back to the mother or the woman being the source. Everyone who came into this planet came in from a woman somehow, whether it was in vitro, however, natural consent, you came here through a woman, right? So when a woman is pregnant, you have to think a woman carries her own energy. Then another layer, the woman carries her mate energy, right? Because like in science, you know, like anything, like, you know, if you have sex with somebody and they say like, oh, you carry their spirits for 7 years, or you carry their DNA, which like your body does store that DNA up to 7 years. But anyway, so mother and father come together. So because he went into her source with his source, they made it, they carrying each other's energy now, right? So then now the mother's pregnant. So here comes another layer, the child. So she has to also be strong enough to carry the child energy as well. 9 months, a cycle. Stay with me. So then look at it like this. Kids could be like looked at like the temperament between two parents, the love between two disagreements. So like say like two parents are arguing and a child walks in a room, like normally the parent would stop arguing because they don't want the child to hear or, you know, see the stuff. But in your masculine energy, or, you know, deep into your feminine, like whatever, but we're gonna go with masculine because you're not using intuition. But if you're deep into your masculine, you ain't gonna care if your kid right there because you want to get your point across or keep expressing that current state that you're in, right? So when a woman gets pregnant and like the union, the conjoining of the masculine and the feminine, that's them sharing the crown or the crown chakra, right? So when they give birth, they pass on to the child. But somewhere in history, the father wanted the power for itself. Or in this instance, we're going to say the masculine energy. It did not want to pass it on to the child. You'll read stories in mythology. Everything in history, it tells the same story from different perspectives. But that's why energy, it matters. So anyways, so, okay, mother and child. So, okay, the mother and the child, they share their power while in the womb. 2, let's see. Okay, so going back to the Garden of Eden with the chromosomes now. So, I just told you like a garden is a variety of. So in this case, it's a variety of the source because X is still in front of Y, meaning it still has a part of the source, but it just don't have the fullness of the source because that Y, that line, that broken line is missing. So in the Garden of Eden, let's put the masculine energy there because that's what it was. Masculine energy in the Garden of Eden. That's what it was. A group of masculine energies. And I just made a joke to myself too. I'll show you at the end. So a group of masculine energies, they came together to try to form because they had a piece of the source. So they tried to use what they had to recreate what they wanted, which was like another feminine energy so that they can mix their masculine with that feminine and do what they wish, right? And then what got me to thinking about this is like when it says like, oh, you have to go through my mother. You have to go through me to get to my father. You have to go through feminine energy to get to the masculine. And then another thing that helped me look at this too, because I was thinking about the video I made, like when I said, you want a piece of pie, 3.14. And if you think about the act of intercourse, boop, that looks like a boop piece of pie. So it's meaning something got taken out of the source. And that was the 3.14, and that's what I was trying to show with all the other stuff too. So like the action of sex can also be observed as pie too. So let's see. So the man was trying to make a woman. Okay, and then so just think about this. So when the masculine energy broke off from the cerebellum, it had 7 things. It said, oh, it took 7 things with it. 7 angels, 7 great angels descended. Those were the 7 chakras. It had a piece of the source with it, right? And it was connected to the cerebellum. So it still have a piece of it as well. So it took the 2 with it, what it can pull down, and took everything else down to the spine. And then I started thinking about that, and I was like, okay, boom, 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 boom. And then the Lord's Prayer came to my head, and just listen to this. So it reads like, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. For thy is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Boom. So, thinking about the body again. Our Father who art in heaven. Brainstem that was connected to the cerebellum. Hallowed be thy name. Hollow just like echo. Like your throat. Echo. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Hang on, I wrote this out here. Okay. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Okay, so when it was saying like thy kingdom come, thy will be done, it's saying you gave us life below as life was above. So the brain, as I said, can live outside of the body, right? But the body needs something to attach itself to live as well, but it can't reverse. So this was the Garden of Eden was pretty much just like reverse engineering because time already existed, but no one was counting time. So the masculine energy broke off with the intentions to create what already was, reversing what already is. And all of this was to protect, but I'm going to finish this, but to protect from death. And then think about the body too. When I said the Tower of Babylon broke off, Moses couldn't get into the promised land. That was the axle and the axis, the breakage between those two, the 2 movables that helped our neck turn, those 2 broke. That's how our neck was broken. And, calm down. Okay. I'm just a little excited because this is so exciting. So anyways, the brainstem that was connected to the cerebellum, hallowed be thy name. You gave us life below as it was above. And then when it says, forgive us our trespass as we forgive those who trespass against us. That was a foreign object, aka semen, being introduced into the body. That was in vitro fertilization, a foreign antibody being introduced into the body. And as I stated, when the brainstem, it goes all the way to the spine, right? So the production of white blood cells come from the bone marrow at the bottom of the spine. So that tells you that was the entry point for the in vitro when they inseminated. So when they says, forgive us our trespass as we forgive those who trespass us, all they're saying is, forgive our invasion of the body, but we will protect the body. That's what white blood cells do. My God. I'm sorry, this is just so exciting. So then, because we first, like the blood was blue and red, feminine, masculine. Masculine. White blood cells is a production of the masculine. So red blood cells produce the white blood cells. Keep following me. And all of this was to protect the body from death, because like at the root chakra, the lowest by the spine again, that spine, the entry point. But at the root chakra, that's where like death, like it's supposed to be the beginning, and then some look at it as the end, but again, it's perspective. But then if you put the end and the beginning together, that's everlasting. It can't be no beginning or no end. It'll be just is. But masculine energy didn't understand that yet because it was still immature, right? And then so let's see. And lead us not into temptation. Temptation is death. Give us something, because they thought they were going to die. So they left to save their life, they thought. Lead us not into temptation and deliver us from evil. Protect us from the veil. Put a protection so we'll have protection from the veil. Evil. Spirituality. It's not evil. Deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory forever and ever and ever and ever. The power is the kingdom, the power and the glory. That's the three celestial realms that I explained, the celestial, terrestrial, and telestial realms, aka the human body. And then signed, amen, or amen is a name. And think about like any artist that do they work. What do? They sign their name at the bottom. But translations. Oh, have you failed us? But they signed their name, the person who wrote it. Amen. Boom. So where are we at now with this? Okay, so then when masculinity came down and descended from the feminine and the source, masculinity created time and space. That's why you have X equal Y equals. So when they created time and space, add it up together. Time and space equals like a destiny, right? Or an opportunity. So masculinity created an opportunity it thought to live forever outside of the source, right? So thinking about it again in these perspectives, truth is the daughter of wisdom. Truth is the daughter of wisdom, is the mother of the source. Lie is the son of delusion, is the father of the source. So you have mother of truth and grandmother of wisdom, father of lies, grandfather of delusions. Masculine took a piece of feminine and tried to emanate it into its own image. And then this was the joke. I pulled out this hoodie. I made this like a few years ago, but on my Cricut machine, just trying it out. But over time, just faded. And I was laughing. I said, I got me and mine. And I was like, me was still there when I lost myself, and I just translated into the source. It's still there, or it was still here when I lost my feminine or forgot my feminine and masculine energies. The source was still there. And I think that's all for this one. I just want to make sure that I covered everything. And then again, I just want to throw out there, in the Garden of Eden, what is it? Man shouldn't lay with man. This is why that was to be called, because not only Sodom and Gomorrah, because nobody just wake up with a thought. We're like replaying like past lives and past, present, and future. Like it's, but they were mating with the young plants, the sun, an immature plant. Like when you pick a fruit or something that's not all the way female, adult, mature, you're gonna ruin it. It's gonna ripe. And so when it says man shouldn't lay with a man as they would lay with a female or lay with a woman, means don't lay with your child. Don't. And then what do you see is almost the number one trauma now in this world? Somebody doing unspeakable things in God's name. Now, who do you think, honestly, like God's gonna get mad at, the victim or the perpetrator? Or you think he's gonna have mercy for both because one was lacking something to make it try to go steal the source power out of that child? You know what I'm saying? So don't go with that one. And then it goes into spare the rod, spoil the child. People took that as, oh, whoop your kids, keep them disciplined. No. What if every time you did something wrong, the source just reached down and started knocking you out? You get warnings first, right? So when it says like to spare the rod and you spoil the child, that means the rod was love. If you spare like not like, oh, you got some spare change. Like spare means to not to have. So if you don't give your child love, you're going to spoil them, not make them like, what we think spoil means. Spoil meant ruin. If you don't love your child, you're going to ruin them. Did it mean whoop your kids, guys? All right, so this is the inside joke I made. Let me see. W, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, F, G, H. All right, so look. This is the source, father, child, X, Y, Z. So when the source, yeah. Okay, my lettering threw me off. I'm like, why was I going to say female? But anyways, so when the masculine energy broke off from the feminine, it took the child. And along with the child, it took 7 angels. Took the first 7 letters of the alphabet with it. So all was left was W, H. The breath of life. Breath of life. Or 2, I was laughing in my head, and that's what made the source mad, because they took the baby like, what did you do?